Independent Freight Dispatching Business Model 2020 Researching. So we'll be talking about the market research and what is market research and why we're doing this market research. There are markets in the transportation industry. One is drive-in market. Okay, so as you can see right now on your screen, this is a drive-in. So drive-in, basically think, and again, coming back to the simplifying things, so my job is to simplify things, okay? So the drive-in, think about, as you can see right now, this is the trailer. So what you can put in this trailer, anything that requires you to hide from, I don't know, let's think about raining, snowing, for example, right? So something that it will be dry. Think about potatoes, think about onions. Well, think about, I don't know, bicycles maybe, right? The palletized, freight, think about that way. This is a drive-in market. So let's put DV, okay? So we'll be going into like much detail. We'll be talking about in detail, so just bear with me. So the number 2 market, which is reefer market, okay? What is reefer market? Think about refrigerator, for example, or temperature controlled. Why? Well, think about the freight that you can haul, as you can see on your screen right now. The reefer is, think about hauling ice cream, think about blueberries, think about fruits, think about strawberries, think about bananas, for example, right? Anything, or think about meat, for example. Anything requires temperature, okay, that's refrigerated market. Now realize, these are 2 different markets, okay? They kind of related to each other, but different market. If somebody teaches you, okay, these are like same markets, no. It's different market. Refrigerated market is different market. They pay a little different. They pay different. They hire different, and they operate different. Okay, so and it's a different trailer and a much expensive trailer than drive-in trailer. I will give you an example. Reefer trailer, it costs you about like $80,000 to buy a trailer. On your screen right now, you see this trailer, it costs you about $80,000, or the carrier buys this for $80,000 in averaging, some more, some less, but this is the average price. $80,000 for this trailer. In drive-in, it costs you, I had one of these, it's like about $37,000 or $35,000, okay? So, moving on to flatbed market. This is my market, flatbed market. I'm in the flatbed market. So flatbed market, as you can see right now, this is the trailer. We have a flatbeds and step decks, a little bit different trailers, but it's flatbed market. Basically, think about hauling heavy duty equipment. Think about tanks, like, bulldozers. Think about those things, like containers. Think about that way, okay? And then it requires like chains, straps, tarps, right? Different. See, is different language, even different language, like different terminologies, right? So in the flatbed market, we're using like straps, chains, binders, tarps, right? Different language, like most of the time. Don't be confused. Well, on the reefer market, they don't use tarping, right? For example, they don't use tarping. They may be using some chains inside of the trailers, but most are the palletized. This is the similarities between drive-in market and reefer market. Right? It's a palletized. Don't be confused again. I mean, flatbed market, there will be some palletized, freight. For example, think about the engines on the pallet. We used to haul from Atlanta, Georgia to Houston, Texas. We used to haul like big engines on the pallet or on the pallets, right? So moving on to car hauling market. So I started with the car hauling market. So let's put C. Car hauling market is basically auto transport. Here's my trailer on your screen with the cars that we used to haul. Okay, so it's an auto transport. I started from here, and then I went to this market, and I touched a little bit over here that when I was working for Amazon, hauling Amazon freight, and then I just decided to focus on the flatbed market. Okay. There are some advantages and disadvantages. Let's talk about how much they make, like the per truck. Let's think, so your customers are carriers, right? Carriers like me, for example. Let's talk about how much they make so that you can have a general idea how much they make so that you can offer your services accordingly. Let's talk about the drive-in market. Let's, for simplicity, put just V, like van, okay? Well, we can just say van, okay? So, van, one truck, please pay attention, please, and don't say that is this per month, is this per year, or is this per day, or per week, okay? So pay attention, one truck, okay? One truck can make per month averaging $25K. $25,000 per month. Gross. Okay? So this is not a profit. Please make sure, on the first video that I did about a year ago, you guys asked me a lot of questions as far as like, is it per month? Is it, what is it? Is it every 6 months? Why is too much? Well, it's not a too much. And some said, well, 25K, it's no, I make like 35K. Like, you could be, you can make, but this is average. Okay? So this is average. 25K per month. One truck, drive-in, makes 25K. So we'll come back to this one. So let's talk about the reefer market. Okay, temperature controlled. Remember, that way, right? It's refrigerator. Okay, reefer market makes about averaging, again, one truck can make up to 30, or I would say average 30K per month. And again, average, right? Average. Could be more, could be less. What I see, 30K per month. Okay? Now let's talk about, we'll be coming, back to these numbers in a minute. Let's talk about the flatbed right now, the flatbed market. Okay? One truck can make, I'm in the flatbed market, up to, well, again, one truck can make 35K per month. 35K per month. Gross, not in profit. This one truck can generate $35,000 per month, one truck. Okay? Now let's talk about the auto transport. By now you guess, right? It's about 40 to 45K. We can put 45K because they make a lot of money. Okay, month. So one truck for car hauling market, they make $45,000 per month. We'll be talking about now, and again, this is one truck per month. Okay, so which market you must choose or offer your services in which market? Is it van, drive-in market? Is it reefer market? Is it flatbed market? Or should I do car hauling market? So we said that these people, right? These people make 25K per month. These people make about 30K per month. So these people make flatbed 35, and again, this is gross average per month. Could be more, could be less. And these people, let's put 40K, okay? 40K per month, okay? So now, one truck can make per month. So now we need to talk about the advantages and disadvantages in detail. Remember, we said we'll be talking about in detail. So let's pull the red marker and then we'll talk about the disadvantages. If you choose to go to drive-in market, one of the disadvantages is that they make less, right? So you can say it's about 20K to 25K per month. And if you are charging, let's average, say 8%, and you can calculate from here, right? So 25K, and then next question will be, Kamal, what about like how many trucks one dispatcher or independent dispatcher can handle? Like one dispatcher can handle up to 5 trucks. Okay, up to 5 trucks. Okay, up to 5 trucks. So now let's say that average or drive-in they make about 25K. So you'll be basically multiplying 25K by 5. Whatever that number is, 8% is yours per month. That's simple, guys. Don't overcomplicate this thing. So drive-in, so if you are looking for a carrier or talking to a carrier that this guy has maybe 10 or 5 drive-ins, he's making about 25K, and of course you'll be going over the numbers. You will be seeing those numbers when you start dispatching, okay? So 25K multiplied by 5 trucks, you'll be able to dispatch 5 trucks, and then 8%, that will be your monthly revenue for your business. Same for the reefer market, same for the flatbed market, same for the car hauling market. Now, everything is good, but what about the disadvantages of this? So you said that you will be talking about the disadvantages, right? So disadvantages of this business is that it's a lot of competition. It's too much competition, right? People want to go here. Why? Because dispatching these people is easy. It's no touch freight. So you dispatch, so you book a load, dispatch a load, so driver goes, no touch freight, meaning driver doesn't touch a load, right? Just parks the truck to the warehouse, they'll load them up, it's good to go, delivering. So it's an easy process, okay? So one of the disadvantages of this business model is that brutally competitive. And how is competitive? So let me give you an example. I have a couple of friends, and in average, the number of trucks each of my friends, they have, so the number of trucks they have, in average, like per carrier, it's about like 60 trucks. Right? So expanding, in other words, this business model is easy, right? Because, freight is all over the place. So there are a lot of freight when it comes to drive-in market. And it's easy because, and think about this way, in what factor helps for the carrier that they can expand their business? One of them is a driver, right? More drivers, think about like 80% of the drivers in the market right now, they go into drive-in market. Why is that? It's because there's no touch freight. It's easy to haul. It's basically you just driving, right? The only labor you have is the driving. Okay? And then we can put another 10% of the drivers in the market, they go here, and then you can say 5%, 5%. Okay? So 80% of the drivers will be going into drive-in market. Why? It's easy, okay? So because of this easy nature of this business, right, there are more independent truck dispatchers going into this, okay? But another disadvantage is that they make less, right? Because you're charging based on the gross revenue per truck, you will be making less, of course, money. So let's think about the industry standards. Let's say 8% you're charging, and the number of trucks we said about 5 trucks. And then when it comes to reefer, one main disadvantage is that it's by appointments, right? You constantly on the phone with the driver, so you have to make it. So one of my friends, he is in the reefer market. So here's the story. He calls me one day and he says, Kamal, a low energy type of voice. And then he said, Kamal, do you need ice cream? Like I said, what are you talking about? What ice cream? And he said, I have 2 pallets of ice creams. Like I can give you 1 pallet, just come and pick it up. see, like, I was kind of confused, and I said, dude, what happened? And the reefer market, they have the appointments. They work 95% of the time, they work based on appointments. You have to be there by 12. You have to be there exactly at 2 o'clock, right? It's like, this is like tough game. You know, people in the reefer market, they can relate to this, and they know this. Reefer market is crazy. Yes, they pay more, and of course they demand more, right? Think about appointments when it comes to reefer market. When you go into reefer market, right? Don't be confused like charging 5%. No, it's like I was distributing the percentage of drivers going into these market, not independent truck dispatch. Okay, so not to confuse you, let's erase this. Okay, so you still charging, let's say 8% across the board. Okay, as your dispatching service. Okay, so that is the number one disadvantage. Okay, now when it comes to flatbed market, as you can see, they pay a little more, but what happens, there's a lot of labor involved, right? The carriers will be losing their drivers based on like hard work. Like, you know, like think about it. I have drivers and they're really struggling, like chaining down, strapping. Tarp is nightmare when it comes to, you know, tarping the freight, because it's an open trailer, right? So that is the one of the disadvantages. And think about, like, Kamal, how this relates to me. So I don't have drivers. Carriers, they have drivers. Well, listen, if carriers can make it, like, you know, hold on to their drivers, they'll be living. So if they, you know, left this carrier, then trucks not moving, right? So that is the disadvantages that they have, like in flatbed market. So I'm in this flatbed market and I've been seeing this. And the competition hiring drivers in the flatbed market is high. And now I see this trend going on where, you know, carriers started paying about like 55 cents per mile, and then it started like, you know, rapidly growing, and then the drivers basically saying, hey, I don't want to do like 55 cents per mile, I need like 65 cents per mile. And then another carrier, you know, in the local area, they kind of, you know, fight each other to, you know, getting the drivers on board. And then what they do is like they pay more, you know, 55 cents, and then they started paying like 60 cents, and then they started paying 65 cents, and then they started paying like 75 cents. I see people paying 80 cents, and this is how they go out of business. Like 80 cents per mile per driver, like it's huge, right? So you can't make it, and then what they do is like out of business. Okay, so this is how it goes. So this is one of the disadvantages when it comes to flatbed market. Now let's talk about car hauling market. I started in, you know, with the car hauling, so I know ins and outs of a car hauling business. In the car hauling business, one of the main disadvantage is that, again, driver problem. Why? Because you, like as a driver, think about you'll be hauling like 9 cars. It's like accidents on these people, like there's a lot of accidents involved, like there a lot of scratches per trucks. I mean, a lot of scratches on the cars. They have open trailer and then closed trailer, of course, but we'll be talking about mostly they have open trailers. But because they will be, well, think about, I have a friend, they are hauling Teslas. Think about, you know, thousands of dollars of Teslas, well, I would say hundreds of thousands of dollars, right, on the trailer, and anything can happen. Like people, I've seen this, people throwing rocks into these trailers, damaging the, you know, the cars on the trailer. Yeah, things can happen. Driver, he's not, maybe I can say not experienced, and what like damages what? Cars. And those are the expensive cars. And what happens? Claims, right? So a lot of claims. So know these disadvantages, I would say. That whatever the advantages these, you know, market have, then it's plus to you, right? But think about the disadvantages. And then and think about now, does it make sense to go like and offer your services for everybody? Now you're thinking differently. Now you're saying, wait a minute, Kamal, I can't serve all of these, so I must choose like maximum, I don't know, maybe 2 markets right? Maximum 2 markets. I don't know, you choose. But I would recommend choosing one market, right? And then expanding. Maybe you start with this. Didn't like, go to reefer market. Didn't like, go to flatbed market. Go to car hauling market. Now let's talk about the planning.